Hi, Salma.
Hi, Kadian. How are you?
I'm doing good. Very good. Very excited.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think my filter is. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. All right, so I am so excited to be here today with Salma. Hi everyone, I'm Kadian Jones. I'm a purpose strategist, and I have been just a bit obsessed with healing for some time now. And I'm just so excited to be here with Salma today because the work that she does is just so amazing for healing. Um, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's coming in, who's showing up, and we're going to go through talking about, how we heal our inner child with rapid transformational therapy. And Salma is here. She will be telling us a bit more about what RTT is and how you can use it to help to heal, the wounded inner child. As we go, I just want to say how, talk a little bit about how this whole collaboration came about and how I met Salma. And thanks to the great internet, you get opportunities to meet people from all over the world who are on the same journey as you and have can inspire you and also be inspired by you. And I feel like that's one of the cool things about the relationship I have with Salma. And also from my deep passion for learning and what then kind of evolved into my learning about healing. And one of the first modalities I invested in was rapid transformational therapy. And I did this through Mind Valley with the founder of RTT, who is Marissa Pear. And she has a course on there called The Uncompromised Life. And that was my first interaction with RTT. And I really was just inspired and amazed by how that modality just helped with kind of eliminating the not enough narratives that I had in about myself and about my life. So I was very amazed by that. And so it really is just one of my all-time faves. And I'm just also again so grateful to have had the interaction with Salma with also the healing of the inner child and what those sessions with her did for me and did for my life and how it caused me to like really grow and evolve and move forward. So I'm very excited. Thank you guys for coming in. And I'm just gonna have Salma introduce herself, tell us a bit more about what RTT is and how she got into that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kadian, for having me today. I love how the world works, and I feel that for 30 or so more years of my life, things were going one way, and then just as life kind of darkened, it brightened again. Just like as we are, entering the season and everything is becoming brighter. And once it is, you get to meet people and you get to learn about yourself and to heal and to be able to heal people. So I am really thankful for having, such relationships. So I am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner. I've studied under Marissa Peer, the founder. I used to live in England, so this is how I started the program. And it was life-changing for me first before it became life-changing for my clients.
Yeah.
Rapid transformational therapy is just it's a program or it's a protocol that includes many different modalities. So it includes psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, elements from neuroscience, hypnotherapy, and we basically relax the client in a certain way to be able to access the subconscious mind. And once you access the subconscious mind, you have direct communication with the inner child. which is just a part of yourself.
Yes.
And it heals. It's a very quick and effective method because you bypass the critical mind. You're able to quiet all of the noise, all of the chatter, and to have a calm, gentle conversation with the parts of you that know exactly what your issues are, where they were formed, and
Yeah.
why. The subconscious mind it runs 90% of our behavior. So
Yeah.
we are running, 90% of our life is running on our subconscious mind. And obviously, consciously, we are aware of certain things, but we're not always sure why do we behave this way? Why is it that I am feeling this way? And so that's basically what we do. I have sessions, we enter the subconscious mind, and then there are a series of techniques and things that we employ that heal the inner child as a part of what actually happens.
Awesome, awesome. So one of the things that I find really fascinating is when you said you bypass the conscious mind, the critical mind. So the thing that sometimes just prevents you from doing the things that you want to do, right? And
Mhm.
so going directly to the subconscious just gets us, we meet the problem where it's at. And I love that about it. And sometimes you're like, it how it processes is just amazing. But for those who aren't necessarily aware of what the inner child is, I with following the holistic psychologist, I was looking at it last night, and it was like the inner child is that part of you that stores all the emotional information, the emotional experiences that you've had from your childhood. And a lot of the times when we're looking back from the mind of an adult, we will not necessarily see the same thing because of just the level of maturity and the level of awareness that we've now had as adults. But when we were looking at all of these things as children, it was major because we just don't have the same processing as children. So how does RTT help with those things that we've already started to believe about ourselves, and how does RT help us with addressing those?
Well, like I said, bypassing the critical mind, it's basically, in order to have the conversation first, you want to be able to be in a relaxed state, a state that's away from your fight and flight. If you can think of a child throwing a tantrum in the
Yeah,
supermarket, right?
yeah,
You can't really have a conversation with that child when they're in that state. So the first thing that we do is we relax you so that you can actually start to talk. We get in
mhm,
there and we speak with each other, and I will ask the subconscious mind to take us to the core reason behind the action, the behavior, the thought, whatever presenting issue you are coming with.
yeah,
The subconscious mind will take you back to a scene from your childhood.
yeah,
One, two, three scenes. And it's not really important what happened in that experience. Obviously, we honor the experience. But like you said, we have to go back and we dig to the feelings that the child
yeah,
and that are now stored in their body, all of these emotions that are still stored,
yeah,
might not have been released. And then what beliefs and meanings did they attach to the experience that they had? Because
yeah,
if you are experiencing something when you are 2 years old, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, your cognitive mind is not as developed, but your sensation is developed. So you are feeling things
yeah,
very forcefully, very intensely, and you're trying to make sense of it, but you don't have the wisdom, the awareness of an adult. You don't have that cognitive ability, and therefore you
yeah.
find meanings to certain things that are most likely not true, not really
Right.
developed. Uh,
Yeah,
and at the same time, um, you are always assigning those meanings from an egocentric point of view because it
yes,
believes that everything that happens is caused by him or her, or
yeah,
it is happening to him and her. So it might have nothing to do with that child, but if, there's a traffic jam and my mother is frustrated, it's because I couldn't stop it. I couldn't make things better for her. So
Right.
that's how we are shaped. And then we realize, or the child then at that point shapes their identity and shapes their view of the world that they live in, what
Yeah.
is available to them and what isn't, based on moments in time that left an imprint. Now, of course, when we grow up and we look back retrospectively to our experiences as children, we can see from our conscious mind and as the adult and with the wisdom and with the knowing that we have now, that whatever it is that we believed back then might not necessarily be true.
Right.
However, the body is not keeping up with that. The subconscious mind is holding on to these beliefs and
Yeah.
it's misaligned. So I know that certain things are good for me, but somewhere along the line, that child believes that those specific things are actually harmful, that
Harmful.
they're
Yeah.
dangerous. And so
Yeah.
no matter how many times you try consciously to adopt a new behavior that is actually serving you well, your child is throwing a tantrum and
Yeah.
you feel it in your body. And it's stopping you. So that's what we try to do with RTT, and it works effectively because we have that communication and we align the subconscious with the conscious, and we get rid of whatever beliefs that are not serving you anymore. And
Right.
we do this by creating a relationship between that inner child self and then the parent self, the wise.
Right.
So you are the one who is reparenting yourself all throughout the session, obviously with the guidance of someone like me.
Right. Yeah, I love that because one of the things that I know Mary Sapir talks about a lot is that our subconscious mind is there to protect us. Because of all these stories that we had formed when we were younger, now it's there to protect us so that whenever we try something different, it's like, you're going against you're doing something that's unfamiliar, and that means not safe. And it's amazing how we can stay stuck in certain behaviors just because we are unable to like speak directly and say, I find that one thing I do when I know that I want to do something and it's not happening, I keep telling my mind over and over, like, it's okay. This is something that's going to be good for me. This is something that's going to move me forward. And sometimes I assume it works, and sometimes I'm like, I'm just making it so that that thing becomes familiar to my mind, so that then it's more likely to help those behaviors form. So tell us a little bit about RTT in and what healing that inner child actually does for someone's life. How does that make life better? How does it improve it and just make it so that we're able to move forward?
So, I mean, I think we're all familiar with the resistance that we feel when we
Yeah.
are, it feels that we are fighting ourselves. So when you do the inner child work, you are no longer fighting yourself. You are cooperating with yourself. And so it just removes the resistance completely. And we'll find that there are certain things that the child will do, our own inner child self will do, in order to meet its needs that have not been met for years. And that
Yes.
that can show up in your life as ways that you're manipulating situations, trying to gain control, being passive aggressive with people around you, being indecisive or making decisions impulsively. So you will find yourself as an adult behaving in very like black and white, outside of your own control, doing things, not sure why you are doing them. And once you can heal and you have that conversation and the inner child has the ability to mature within you with
Right.
your own guidance, then you just everything is just very it starts to feel natural, effortless, more of a gentle evolution, cooperation. Things start working with you in alignment. You behave differently with the people around you. You begin to have more discipline. So you are the one who's saying, "This is what I want to do," with my life. These are the decisions I want to make. These are the habits, the behaviors I want to adopt. And then you are able to do them without all of that resistance, without all of that back and forth. And so you begin to show up consistently for yourself and in the community. So you show up consistently at work. You start achieving your goals. You don't procrastinate as much. When you decide that you want to follow a certain kind of diet for your health or a fitness regimen, you are able to do it and you achieve your goals and things just start to work.
Yeah.
In your relationships as well, you become more direct. You're a much better communicator. You start personalizing everything and feeling that everything is your fault, you know?
Right.
So you become better at conflict resolution, but it takes time. So it takes work in the session in order to understand what are our needs, in order to understand why we do certain things, what the beliefs are, to replace those beliefs, upgrade those beliefs, and then it takes follow through afterwards. And then you might want to do another session again to go into a deeper layer because
Yeah.
usually people seek help when they are, you know, decades old.
Yes, yes.
Early when you're only, you know, 10, 15, 20, then you have a lot less work to do.
Right, right.
It's good. It's and can you just tell me a little bit about your experience? Maybe some people would like to know how
Yes.
changed.
So I reached out to Salma when I feel going through a really emotionally turbulent time. And I was trying to figure out, well, why is all of this happening? And what am I supposed to learn? And what I figured out was that I I understood. I could witness my behavior. I objectively did that, but I couldn't connect where it was coming from, what it was related to. So then when I spoke with you and we discussed that, I was like, all right, I'm willing to do that. And even to this day, I feel just so surprised by the scenes that came up when we went through what the scenes were and what they actually meant, because I was just like, I never saw that as something that was negative or something that was bad. I actually thought I had this that was okay or something like that. And now, when after doing it, I'm just like, wow, like I couldn't believe what my child, like my person at that age was thinking when that whole thing happened, and not just being able to process that. But I loved it because I came out of that session with a mantra that said, I know how to take care of my needs. And that was huge for me, like huge. Like, and when I would say it all the time, like, I know how to take care of my needs. I can provide for myself. I am now the parent. I know how to take care of you. Like, it really connected me. Like, it's almost like I sunk deeper in the seat of me. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like I felt a lot more connected to that person. And it's one of the things about it is you get to the point where it's like your inner child is there, but it's just a part of you. And sometimes we're disconnected from that part of us. And what it does is cause all this havoc because we keep throwing those tantrums because all we're trying to do is trying to get our attention, to say, pay attention to me, fulfill this need. And I'm so happy and so grateful that I did it because now I know. And now I know in a conscious way, which is amazing.
Yeah, yes. And like you said, what you said about becoming your own parent. I mean, it's amazing, amazing, amazing for you, for me, for everyone. Once you know, once that inner child knows,
Yes, yes.
they will be supported and that they don't need to look externally to get their needs
To get
met.
it.
That they
Yeah.
have you, that you are committed to them. If they're looking for connection, they're connected to you. If they're looking for support, for safety, you provide everything to them. And
Yeah.
that just, you know, it's so comforting, just like as it would be if you are actually assuring a little child in front of you.
Exactly. And it's so funny, Selma, because it brought me back to that a lot of times when I'm dealing with my daughter. Like the consciousness, So one thing that I do want to say is that the consciousness that comes to me personally for me acknowledging my inner child also makes it so amazing for me to be consciously aware about how I deal with my daughter and how I teach her to have that healthy relationship with herself. And every single time I get frustrated or I get to a point where I'm like, it brings me back because I'm like, what is she going to interpret from my behavior at this point? And I feel like that is how we help to just get rid of a lot of some of the generational things that's been happening to us and coming down from our ancestors and those before us. Is that sometimes we have to understand that we're the ones who have to stop the cycle and we have to do the work in order to be able to do that.
Yeah. And it creates so much empathy as well because every adult around has an active child.
Yes.
A lot of us, that child is throwing a tantrum and we are like vibrating from the inside, but obviously we don't want to show it because
Right.
we don't want to show it at work. We don't want to show it. We act so chill, right? But
Yeah.
it's in there. But now because of this experience, you become aware of everyone around you and what they
Yes.
potentially could be feeling. And that empathy, that sensitivity, it's so important. It makes such a ripple effect. It's
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, I mean, we're talking about the healing, but we
Yeah.
don't want to suppress the gifts and the talents of that inner
Yeah.
child because every one of us, we came with beautiful gifts, beautiful talents. We had a purpose and we knew what it
Yeah.
was when we were first born. It was in our blueprint. We are here to serve in some kind of way. But then we live a few years and we gain these beliefs, and these beliefs become making us small, confined. We start losing focus and not believing in ourselves, and we become suppressing ourselves. We don't
Yeah.
express our voice. But once you do the inner child healing, you know that you will be heard, and therefore you communicate your truth. You know that
Yeah.
you will be safe to express yourself in any which way. And so you begin doing that. You
Yeah.
start realizing and identifying all of your gifts, all of your talents, knowing that you have that space, and that changes who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't change who you are. It grows you. It develops you, just like a flower that fully blossoms
Right.
and you grow.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. It's not just about the things that we want to get over. It's also
Right.
that we want to discover about ourselves, and that
Yeah.
shows up in the sessions and beyond the sessions.
Yeah. Like I know I'm I'm a purpose strategist, which means I've spent a lot of time within my own self trying to figure out what it is that I'm supposed to be doing on this earth. I know I'm here to create an impact. I always knew that. But how do I go about doing it? And it takes work to figure it out. But there's an ease that comes with when you do the inner child healing because it's almost like instead of trying to figure it out, you're just connecting to it. You're
Hmm.
just connecting to it, and it becomes a knowing that's so deep that you can start creating the space to do that. And I think that's one of our strongest powers, but it doesn't happen unless we actually do the work in order to uncover all of this. And so I know that John Bradshaw, he said, I believe that the neglected, wounded inner child of the past is the major source of human misery. And it's like we keep being in these patterns, we keep having all these same behaviors happening without knowing how to change it or without knowing how to transform it by understanding where it's coming from. And that is why awareness is so important because it's how you start noticing how you're behaving and then you start get curious about, well, why am I behaving this way? And that's when it comes to the inner child, the word curious is the one that I find the most of value, because being curious actually gets you the answers that you need. And I'm just so happy for your work because it just helps to do it so directly. And I don't know if there's anybody in the chat who wants to start, putting in some questions so we can see, we can answer your questions. You have Salma here. She's a great resource. And I definitely think that if you have any questions, you can start putting them in. But I definitely also want to talk with Salma about how we can go about being more intentional about the inner child healing. So after we've done a session with you or two, after we've identified where the after we've identified the areas where we're like, okay, that's where that happened, how can we then start implementing that in our lives so that we can be more intentional about actually doing this work and getting it, and moving forward with that? What do we get from you to keep going with that?
When we do the session and there are so many things. We have to heal and reframe certain experiences that have wounded us. So that's one thing that we do. And we do that in the session. But that's also includes us holding space for ourselves as we continue to release those emotions and stored emotions after we've done the reframe. In the session, as well, we begin to desensitize a lot of the memories that you've had, some of the things that have been a bit traumatic for you as a child. We begin to desensitize and to release some of that emotional charge as well. So that happens in the session and after the session as well, with certain exercises and things that I'll recommend that you do and continuous follow-up. Another thing that we find in the session is we identify what are the main needs, like we said, the unmet needs. But
Yes.
just because we know what the unmet needs were does not mean that we have met
You
them.
know how to,
So we have
exactly.
to meet those needs.
Yeah.
Some of the needs are just met within the session. For example, if you needed to be heard, well, this session is all about you being heard.
Yes.
And knowing that you have that safe space. If your need was to be supported, now you have a parent that's assigned to you, and you know that you are safe and you are supported. But then there are other things. For example, if you needed physical touch when you were a child and you didn't get enough physical touch, you didn't get enough soothing, you need to build that into your life. And every
Yeah.
single time that you do
Yes.
for yourself, things that you do all the time for yourself, but knowing that this is an unmet inner child need, you begin to deliberately, intentionally, mindfully say, patting myself right now, this is me meeting my inner child's needs. If I,
Yeah.
wrapping myself in a blanket, this is me meeting that need. If I am looking at myself in the mirror and saying something to myself, like some kind of word of affirmation, I am not saying it to my adult self. I am telling that to my beautiful inner child.
Yes.
Needed
Yeah.
to hear a lot of these things. So I was telling you the other day, right now, certain things I wasn't doing when I was young is buying certain accessories, like all of the, the sequins, the sparkle,
Yeah.
glam, the glitter. Now I'm an adult, I don't really need that. But I know that my inner child wants some sparkle in her life, right? Because she didn't get that chance when she was younger. So now I will make a purchase, something just for me, just for my child. I will go and I will eat cotton candy. I will eat
Yes.
lollipop. And I have a connection and mindfully saying, this is for my inner child. This is
Yeah.
for myself. So it's knowing what the needs are, and the other thing is that our inner child, there are different stages. So we have needs from infancy. We have
Yeah.
needs from when we were toddlers. We have needs when we were teenagers, and all of our needs change. So it's beautiful because sometimes I'll be talking with like a client, and when you get triggered, when you're feeling sad or upset or sensitive, ask yourself, how old do I feel right now? And you will,
Wow.
I feel like I'm 5. So start doing it
Wow.
for a 5-year-old. Or I, like I am, a 15-year-old rebellious, and I want to express myself and I want to, have my own agency over myself. And this is the kind of thing that you have to give to yourself. So
Yeah.
become more mindful, more aware, and you continue to have that relationship that we've built in the session. The session starts, has a foundation. We're beginning a conversation, open communication, and then you take that with you, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny because one of the things that John Bradshaw also said is that as adults, we kind of push back on the idea that basically we are children. Because there's some kind of just not being able to take care of yourself. Like that kind of narrative comes to mind when we think of ourselves as children. But I remember even in our conversation the other day, you were like, well, I think that the child part of us is just like so beautiful. And it's something that we should nurture and it's something that we should provide for and it should take care of. So just having that energy and being able to consciously give to that part of ourselves is also a beautiful thing and really a big part of our self-care and how we take care of our really a big part of our self-care. So I know that when we finished our session, I did get a recording of our the latter piece of our session. And I had listened to that for like 21 days. Like every day I would listen to it. And it's almost still just continuing the work of reprogramming that information. Does that happen for all your clients? Do they get that piece to keep them moving forward on that journey?
Yes, yes. So the breakthroughs happen inside the session and the
Yeah,
change occurs inside the session, but just you're working with the mind, you're working with the brain and its neural networks. So whatever it is that we have found, these new truths and new beliefs that we are now adopting, we want
yeah,
to remember them. We want to think them over and over again to become more familiar and for those neural pathways to be reinforced, to become stronger. So we are pretty much recording them and engraving them and making them stuck into our subconscious mind.
right.
Also with the different habits and behaviors that we want, the vision that we have created for our future, that we
Yeah,
want to live as if this is already true. Well, for these habits, we want to remind ourselves, to tell ourselves every single night, every single morning when we are listening to that recording, that this is what I am doing today. A lot of the parts of the recording as well are, related to the beliefs, but also giving you the thoughts and the visions that will give you and inspire certain feelings. So then you begin to embody these feelings that you are enough, these feelings that everything's available to you, these feelings that you are
yes,
safe.
yes,
And when your body becomes used to these feelings, these emotions that are being released, you are it's almost like you become addicted to them. Your
yeah,
body will start automatically releasing and giving you these feelings. Um, and I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in having a really if you have like a strong emotional body with an elevated emotions, you can begin attracting to yourself all of the things that reflect what you believe about yourself,
yeah,
about your life.
yeah.
And so you are pretty much designing your life by listening to this recording. This recording, it's done to everyone, but it's bespoke for everyone. So your
Yeah,
recording is
yeah,
completely different than anyone else's.
yeah. And the one thing that I do want to say with this too is that I say everybody healing journey is different. But also, even narrower than that, everybody healing journey within RTT is different. Like it's a different thing happens for different people because it just all depends on your experience. And one of the things I love about that is just how it gives me I never think about it in terms of how anything else is happening else for anybody else, if that makes sense. I only, when I think of RTT, I think of it's my work. And that's what I really love, and just getting the opportunity to address those things right away Like it really just like quantum leaps your growth because you don't spend forever trying to figure out how to move forward. And it's definitely something I would recommend for everyone. But I know that someone on here put a question. I saw Farmer Bay who said that she loves this, and I love that you love it, honestly. Um, and the Biz Slayer said we started using the word curious in reference to children, but curious is something that it's a quality we should all have, even as adults, because it keeps us learning. And then Susan had asked, hey, Susan, what's the very first step in getting started with this work?
So the usually connecting with me either through the free discovery call where we just chat a bit about your unique situation, what it is that you need, um, or emailing me and I could send you over an intake form. So we just have a 10-20 minute conversation about what your goals are, about what your presenting issues are. And then we have the session. There isn't too much to do because
Yeah,
thing happens within the session. And I wanted to just reflect on something that you said when you said, this is my work. It is your work. The client is the one who puts everything together.
yeah,
I am just facilitating. I am
yes, yes.
environment and I guide, but the client does everything. Your mind is so brilliant, so powerful, and it wants to be whole. It's dying to be whole. So everything happens. And so this is your work. This is your healing journey. And I work with each client and every single session is different. So if I have 2-3 sessions with a client, they could feel completely different as well. So they're different goals. It's almost like every time I have a session, I am meeting a different person because
Yes,
evolved so
yeah,
we
yeah,
evolve so much from one session to the next.
yeah.
So yeah, that's all you need to do. You can email me at breakthroughhypnocoach.com. You could just send me on Instagram at breakthrough.hypno.coach. Um, I'm sure, Katie, you'll have the links or the.
I'm actually gonna add your tag in the chat right now so that if anyone wants to to find you really quick, it's right there. I just did it. You have Salma's link so that you can contact her. Um, I'm as always, our discussions, I feel so full. Like, I feel so full just having this conversation. And as I'm talking with you, I can remember just that deep seated feeling I felt after the session because I did openly connect with my inner child and just reassured her in a way that only I am able to do at this point in my life. And so it just feels really good. And I feel like as women, a lot of the times we don't get enough time, I feel, to do this work. There's a lot of stuff that we do all the time, especially when we're mothers and wives, and we play all these roles in society. But I think it's very important for us to actually do the work because it's with doing the work that we get to experience just how amazing we are. Just how amazing we are.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, one of the reasons that I personally receive rapid transformational therapy all the time because I have a whole list of things that I want to
Like we all do.
like. But what I love about it is that it's, it's called rapid because it's rapid.
It is. Yeah.
I don't need to be doing this every single week and have to recover because, from each session, like
Yeah.
2-3 days and have it disrupt my life. I plan for it. And when I do, I know I go in the session, I know exactly what to expect for a day or two. I'm listening to my recording right before I sleep or early morning after.
Mornings. Yeah.
So not disrupting my day and I feel good. I feel good and I have a whole lot of time to just embrace life and live without
Yeah.
having the effects and the commitments and the all of the time as
The
well that you're
time.
going towards different kinds of therapy. So
Yeah.
therapy, all kinds of therapy are good. There's a certain therapy that fits best for a certain time in your life and for a certain
Yeah.
stage of your healing. So it's important to know, to have someone like you that could kind of guide someone
Yeah.
what is suitable for you now, your life, your commitments, and so on. But I am just loving the rapid transformational therapy stage just because it fits my life. It's quick,
Yeah.
easy, it's
Yeah.
transitional, results are happening instantaneously, and I just love it personally. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Like if anybody who wants to reach out to Salma, who knows how important this work is and is ready to start the process, you can definitely do that. And then what I do and what I really love doing is providing that support to women who are trying to do their healing journey and create the life that they want and live while they're here on this earth. And it's so important. I know sometimes we're like, we'll do it on our own, we'll do it by ourselves, we'll get it figured out. And I did that for so long. But what I realized is that when I started getting help, when I started reaching out or exploring different ways of doing it, I saw how quickly that process happened. Like if I was still trying to do it by myself, I feel it would have taken a much longer time. And
yeah.
so, what I do is that I help women create these plans of how they're going to heal, how they're going to move forward, what would be something that would work better for them in terms of where they are and where they are right now. Because I feel like that's a big thing. Knowing where you are and just starting from that place is what gets you moving and gets you to where you want to go. So just creating that plan, creating that outline to say, this is how I'm going to do it, and then having the support. Because that was also one of the biggest things is that we're going through all these changes, we're going through all these emotions, and then not having like a safe place to just really go and express that. And I know we were talking about it, Salma, and you're like, yeah, sometimes you come from therapy and you want to talk to your friend about what happened in therapy because it was that life changing. And I love when you said that because I'm just like, yeah, I need someone to talk to when I'm done with this. I'm like, can you believe I was experiencing that? And so that's what we do. Like you come in, you can see my Instagram page. That support is provided for you to be able to go through this journey and to reduce some of the growing pains because sometimes I don't think all of it is necessary. It's just that it's the resistance in us, it's the pushback, and it's the fear of the unknown and not know and being uncertain about what this change is going to bring about. But I 100% feel like it's worth the process. Absolutely worth the process. And I know that the universe conspired for you and I to meet Salma like long before I decided on it. And I'm just so, so blessed and so grateful that we're going through this journey together and also just so grateful for your work because it does so much to help all the people that you work with.
Thank you. And I just want to say a final thing is what you do is part of healing the inner child. What you provide, that support, that validation, that guidance, that's what an inner child needs. That's what even
Yeah.
a child
Yes.
needs, an older sister or a motherly role. And sure, we parent ourselves, and that's what we do with the healing, but we're not designed to just be on our own. We work
Yes.
whole, but we are also
Yes.
designed to be a part of community, to have an entire village,
Yeah.
supporting us, and so this is also part of the healing. So after someone completes their sessions, they go and they're talking with you, and they're getting that support and guidance from you. They're feeling like they're being hugged, they're being
Yes.
they're
Yes.
supported. So thank you for what you do as well, and I'm sure the conversation will continue.
Of course, of course, and I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful for this moment, for this live, and I just want to thank everyone who came in. Thank you so much, the Biz Slayer, who said this was an awesome live, ladies, and I'm just grateful. Thank you guys for coming in, for showing up, and if there's one thing, Salma, that you want to leave with us today, what would that be?
Um, think of something that you can do today that shows how much you actually love yourself. Something purely for your inner child. Just one, do it now, do it with all of the love, all of the energy, and receive it as well.
And receive it.
And receive it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Salma. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you all again. All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.